Hey there and welcome. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. I hope your 2025 is off to a fantastic start. I just got all of my Christmas decorations packed up and put away at the end of last week, so I finally feel like I have time to sit down and craft. I haven't crafted for a couple of weeks now and I really do miss it. It's definitely a form of therapy for me. One thing that I did want to mention is last month when I mailed out my Christmas cards, I realized that postage fees are completely out of control and really hurt the old pocketbook. So I have decided that this year I really need to kind of step back and not maybe use so many dimensions and embellishments on my cards. You know, my Christmas cards do get kind of out of control sometimes, and I really need to kind of pare that back a little bit. If you follow me, you know that I do like to challenge myself to one layer cards, and I'll probably be doing that quite a bit more this year as well. But I wanted to share an idea for keeping postage down to a minimum. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to use dimension or embellishments on any of my projects. I certainly will on my 3D projects or on cards that I will be hand delivering or maybe including in a box with other things in it. So I'm not going to stop using embellishments and dimension. I'm just going to try to keep it to a minimum. So I'm going to really try to focus on ideas and techniques on what we can do to keep postage down to just one single stamp. And even then it's expensive, but you know, I'm not going to stop sending out cards. I know the value of mailing cards. I know that when people open a card in the mail, it really brightens their day. It's something that cheers them up, and I am not going to let the high postage prices deter me from sending joy in the mail. So anyway, I wanted to share a couple of ideas. So I have a card here that I'm going to share some ideas with. If you follow me at all, you know that I like to use our thick basic white card bases, cardstock for our card bases. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded in half at 5 1/2. And I've already added a piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for my card front. This is typically what I do just to save some time. Ahead of time I have my pre-made card bases, and I have quarter sheets of my cardstock cut and ready so I can easily start to make a project. I am going to be using some really fun fruity paper. This happens to be a free Sale-a-bration item that you can earn now through the end of February with any $60 order. I think it's called, let me find out, it is called, Fruit Salad DSP, and here it is right here, and it is just a fun stack of colorful fruity paper. It's so pretty, and so I do have several samples that I'm going to share with you today. This one I really loved, the little kiwis. But you can use absolutely any designer series paper that you have in your stash or anything that you have on your wish list. This design will go with anything. I just am trying to cover some basic ideas. So this, I actually have already combined some things here. This designer series paper layer is 3 1/2 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And you'll see I already have it matted on a coordinating piece of pecan pie cardstock that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and I've already attached these two together. And what you'll notice is I did another cost savings tip is I cut out the middle of that paper. Since you're not going to see it anyway on the card, I cut out the center part so that I could use that and for something else, and I used it to make my sentiment. So I already have my sentiments cut, and they came out of this piece that I cut out of there. And I still have extra of that leftover piece so I can use even for more projects. But I've already mounted those two things, and so I'm just going to attach this with my liquid glue to the front of my card base. If you follow me, you know that I really love liquid glue. It's an inexpensive, very strong adhesive. Just a little goes a long way, so I'm just going to put that in the center of my card. And I also like it because you can have a little bit of wiggle room, and so you can get it nice and centered and somewhat straight. So there's that part. And then I had this designer series paper happens to be 6 by 6, and so after I cut this layer out, I had left over to make the to decorate the flap for my envelope. So I'll have a coordinating envelope with this, and then I've got my sentiment. I already stamped and cut out my sentiment pieces, and I'm just going to add them with a little bit of glue as well. So let's see. How do I want to put this? I think I'm going to put them in a little kitty wampus. So I'm going to put happy. And we'll put happy. Again, just a little bit of glue. Happy, happy birthday. So this is a great card for any gender, any age. It's really fun and colorful, so I think anybody would really enjoy opening it. And so there you have it. That's a really nice card. It has the designer series paper, whatever pattern that you're using, is very bright and colorful, and it doesn't really need any kind of embellishments, but it's very low profile, so it'll only require one postage stamp to go in the mail. And then of course I have my coordinating envelope there. So what I wanted to go ahead and do is show you a couple of other samples of what I did with this paper. Again, you can use any designer series paper that you have. So here I did a landscape version card with the banana, and I cut out, so I have the designer series paper in the back, and then I did cut out some banana from another sheet of the paper, and then I just stamped a sentiment and layered it on a couple of circles. So there's more layers on this card, but it's still very low profile, so it will only need to be one stamp. And of course, again, I have my coordinating envelope. Here's another one with the pretty apple paper with a large happy birthday sentiment on there. And again, all of these are on just the thick basic white card base, so I can stamp a sentiment on the inside. And this one, because of the way I cut the paper, I made a portrait card, so my apples were going this way, and I didn't want to put them that way on the flap, so I just turned it over onto the other side. So, but it still coordinates perfectly with the card. And then here is another one with the pretty pomegranates. And again, this one I added a little bit of texture. So even though I'm not using embellishments, I did add a little bit of texture with the soft suede technique behind the sentiment that I cut with the banners from the Stylish Shapes. And then of course I still have the coordinating envelope. This one is another card. Now this one does have a one-dimensional layer, so I think that this one can still be a single postage. There's no bumps, like no major bumps from embellishments, but this is with the watermelon paper, and I did add a little strip of the paper, the leftover paper on the inside. So that is another really simple card. This one is a little more involved. This one does have some embellishments. I did, and it has 2 layers. So this card may require additional postage. I did happen to work as a contract or at a contract post office for a couple of years, and so I do understand why postage requirements are what they are. So it has to do with the machines and everything. So I do understand all of that. What I do like to do is if I do add embellishments, I try to add them below any other dimensional things, so these won't poke through the envelope. But this card probably would require extra postage, the non-machinable stamp postage, but I still think it's so pretty, so I wanted to share it with you. And then here is another example of a minimal dimension that I think could still go with a single postage stamp, but I did want to show that you can, instead of using designer series paper, you can add embossing to add some interest to your cards, to really kind of step them up but still make them simple. This layer size is a little bit different than the one we made today. Let me go back to here. This one is a smaller layer, this one is a bigger layer, but you can still see the similar idea of embossed instead of designer series paper with a little bit of layering, but still a rather simple card that hopefully required just the single stamp. I'm pretty sure this is the only one that I have right now here in these samples that would require extra postage. But so I just wanted to share those couple of tips with you. I want to encourage you to, even with the increased postage fees, to keep sending those cards because they really do make a difference. I know that when I open a card, it just makes my day to know that somebody is thinking about me enough to create a card and send it to me. So I hope you enjoyed this video, grabbed a couple of tips, and again, I hope you have a wonderful 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.